In a world overrun by zombies, two friends, Mickey and Ben, found themselves stuck in a broken-down car for 3 long days. Mickey and Ben, both avid baseball fans, were among the few survivors in this post-apocalyptic world. They roamed through the forests and provinces of New England, scavenging for provisions while constantly defending themselves from the bloodthirsty zombies that lurked around every corner. However, life in this new world proved to be surprisingly monotonous. Most of the time, the friends had nothing to occupy their time. Ben adapted to this harsh reality more swiftly than Mickey. He learned how to fend off zombies and find food using makeshift tools. In contrast, Mickey shied away from violence, seeking solace in the music playing through his headphones. During one of their supply runs, the duo stumbled upon an abandoned car. A zombie woman emerged from the driver's seat, but Ben reacted with lightning speed, dispatching her with a shot to the head. Luck was on their side as the car roared to life, granting them the means to continue their journey on wheels. Mickey suggested a detour to his ex-girlfriend's house in search of supplies. While Ben cautiously scoured the house for zombies, Mickey drifted into nostalgia within his former lover's room. He couldn't resist the allure of a new disc from her dresser, followed by a wistful sniff of her clothes and perfume. Meanwhile, Ben focused solely on items that could aid their survival. His search yielded 2 battery-operated walkie-talkies among the belongings. With blankets and pillows from the girls' room, they planned to spend the night in the car. Mickey, weary of exploring abandoned houses and enduring nights on the unforgiving streets, proposed they stay in the house for a while. Ben, however, emphasized the importance of constant movement to ensure their survival. He reminded Mickey of the 3 months they spent locked inside Mickey's family home at the start of the apocalypse, a grim period marked by dwindling supplies and a heartbreaking decision to sacrifice their own dog to avoid starvation. Eventually, zombies breached their safe haven, leaving only the 2 friends as survivors. Mickey reluctantly agreed with Ben, and they continued their journey with no permanent stops. One day, Mickey discovered the walkie-talkies and loaded them with fresh batteries. Curiosity led them to test the radio's range, unexpectedly picking up a signal from other survivors. It was the first time in a long while that Mickey heard the voices of others. These survivors discussed their shopping list, hinting at a life that was almost normal. They celebrated birthdays, watched movies, and always had enough to eat and a place to sleep. Hopeful for a lifeline out of their desperate situation, Mickey attempted to make contact and seek refuge in their camp. A harsh male voice on the other end swiftly rebuffed his plea, refusing to entertain the idea of the newcomers joining them. The voice, mentioning someone named Annie, demanded an end to any communication with Mickey and Ben. Desperation gripped Mickey as he continued to plead with the strangers, but they abruptly cut off the connection. Ben, more pragmatic and less emotionally invested, suggested they forget about this failed attempt to make contact. However, Mickey couldn't shake the rejection, holding onto a romanticized vision of Annie as a savior from the zombie invasion. Ben, in contrast, remained grounded in reality and offered Mickey advice on survival. He encouraged his friend to follow his lead and adapt to the grim circumstances. Their journey led them to an abandoned motel. As Mickey ventured inside to investigate, he quickly regretted his decision as he stumbled upon a room filled with trapped zombies. Ben once again had to step in, defending them from the undead threat. He pleaded with Mickey to learn how to protect himself, but was met with resistance. A moment of reckoning arrived when Mickey found himself alone with zombies. Ben, unaware of the impending danger, went for a swim, leaving Mickey vulnerable. A tense moment unfolded as a zombie lurched dangerously close to their car, clumsily attempting to breach its defenses. Mickey, who had been asleep, suddenly woke up, his fear palpable. He found himself alone, facing a zombie for the first time, and panic set in. Desperately, he cried out for Ben to come to his rescue. As Mickey observed the zombie's futile efforts, he realized that she couldn't figure out how to get inside and seemed destined to keep rubbing against the car indefinitely. Oddly, it struck him that beneath the grotesque exterior was once a pretty girl. Mickey, who had endured many months without intimacy, contemplated taking advantage of the situation to satisfy his needs by simply looking at her. Their unusual and eerie romantic moment was abruptly disrupted when Ben returned to the car and shot the zombie in the head. The tension between the friends escalated with each passing day. They continued their journey, scouring abandoned houses for supplies. At one point, Mickey's frustration got the better of him, and he insisted on spending the night in a house. Ben reluctantly agreed, but confiscated Mickey's music player, arguing that the loud music could prevent them from hearing approaching zombies. Ben stressed the importance of teamwork for their survival, but Mickey's reaction was far from cooperative. Frustrated, Mickey retreated to his room and attempted to contact Annie once more. This time she responded, warning him that talking to him could get her exiled from the survivor camp. She shattered Mickey's idealized image of the camp, urging him to abandon his plans of joining them. Desperate to leave Ben behind and join Annie, Mickey begged for a chance, but she harshly rejected him once again. Meanwhile, Ben decided to let loose for a bit. He cranked up the music player, danced with his gun, and indulged in some alcohol. In the dead of night, he heard suspicious sounds outside the house and took a zombie captive. Ben concocted an extreme survival lesson for Mickey. He left a baseball bat by Mickey's side, released the captured zombie into the room, and sealed the door shut. Mickey, awakened by the horrifying situation, pleaded with his friend to let him out. But Ben insisted that Mickey had to confront the zombies with the bat. Inside the room, the sounds of Mickey's terrified screams and the thuds of blows against the zombie resonated. Eventually, Ben cautiously opened the door and found Mickey, drenched in zombie blood, breathing heavily. Angry yet relieved, Mickey lunged at his friend, but ultimately felt a sense of accomplishment, having killed a zombie for the first time. Mickey then shared the details of his conversation with Annie and the camp's grim reality. Overwhelmed by the hopelessness of their situation, Mickey broke down in tears. Ben comforted his friend, and together they resumed their journey, finding solace in the beauty of nature and the simple pleasures it offered. They spent their days fishing, exchanging life stories, playing baseball with apples, and savoring fruit picked straight from trees. However, one day, their serenity was disrupted when they stumbled upon an abandoned car blocking their path. Ben, always resourceful, decided to siphon the gas from it, but Mickey noticed the car's hood was still warm, indicating that they weren't alone. The friends called out to the car's owner, receiving no response. Ben was determined to proceed, but failed to notice a stranger sneaking up on Mickey, holding a knife to his throat. The menacing figure demanded the keys to their car, threatening to kill Mickey if they didn't comply. Ben offered to take the stranger with them, but he had plans to head to Arizona alone and wanted no traveling companions. Ben appealed to the stranger's sense of reason, questioning whether it was worth taking an innocent life to escape his pursuers. The stranger revealed that he was promised freedom and provisions along with his own truck if he worked for a group of people throughout the winter. The situation took a dangerous turn as the man who had been pursued by a group of deceivers grew furious. He threatened to harm Mickey, even mentioning cutting off his eye. To de-escalate the situation, Ben cunningly claimed that the car keys were in the ignition. In exchange for Mickey's freedom, the man promised to discard his weapon and allow them to leave without interference. With apparent agreement, the man pushed the frightened Mickey aside and settled into the driver's seat. However, a grave mistake soon became apparent. The car keys were not in the ignition, but tucked safely in Ben's back pocket. Realizing his error, the man attempted to flee into a nearby field. In response, Ben took a decisive action, ending the man's life abruptly, leaving Mickey in stunned disbelief. The friends found themselves embroiled in a heated argument over the morality of Ben's act. Their dispute was interrupted when they noticed unwelcome guests approaching. A woman's voice from a nearby car informed them that they meant no harm and simply wanted to take the abandoned car to acquire gasoline. Mickey, unaware of the potential danger, saw no issue with this, while Ben remained vigilant, brandishing his loaded gun at the stranger's vehicle. A pretty girl and a burly man carrying a gun emerged from the car. The girl instructed her companion to put down his gun, replacing it with a fuel canister. Together, they approached the friends. The girl inquired about the car's driver, and Ben, attempting to protect himself, lied, claiming the driver had been bitten by a zombie and had to be killed. The stranger continued the conversation, asking if the driver had shared any information about himself or the car's origin. Ben, realizing that this was the group that had pursued the man, opted to play dumb, offering no revealing details. Mickey, on the other hand, failed to grasp the danger and identified the girl as Annie, the voice from the radio. Realizing they had been exposed, Annie shot Ben in the leg and aimed her gun at Mickey, threatening their lives if they followed them to the camp. Annie confiscated the car keys, tossing them into a nearby field before departing. Mickey fruitlessly searched the dense grass for the keys. Nightfall approached, and Ben suggested they spend the night in the car and resume their search in the morning. In the middle of the night, Mickey heard suspicious noises, prompting them to switch on the headlights. They were confronted with a horde of starving zombies advancing toward them. Ben's injury prevented him from fleeing far, leaving them trapped in the car, surrounded by the undead. By morning, the car was entirely encircled by the relentless zombies, unable to gain entry but incessantly rocking the vehicle and emitting mournful groans. Hours passed, and their supplies of water and food dwindled. It became a race against time to see who would give in first, them or the zombies. To ward off insanity, the friends covered all the windows with blankets, hoping the zombies would leave if they couldn't see them. However, the zombies remained fixated on their prey. To momentarily forget their dire fate, the friends decided to get drunk and enjoy themselves, despite the hopelessness of their situation. The following morning, they realized they couldn't delay the inevitable any longer. They had to retrieve the keys and escape this nightmare. Ben implored Mickey to venture outside, urging him to do whatever it took to survive. He asked Mickey to leave him behind if he couldn't find the keys. Mickey promised not to abandon his friend and, having smoked his final cigarette, climbed out through the hatch to seek freedom. For Ben, an agonizing wait began. Long minutes felt like an eternity, and hope dwindled. Suddenly, a knock from above filled him with joyful anticipation, prompting him to open the hatch and welcome Mickey back inside. However, something was amiss. Mickey's bloodied hand signaled trouble. Ben realized his friend had been bitten by a zombie. In that moment, Ben made the only agonizingly right decision. He shot Mickey in the head, then screamed in pain, grappling with the torment of his actions. He spent the following days in a state of desolation, trying to come to terms with the loss of his only friend. Time passed, and Ben eventually communicated with Annie through the radio, sharing their escape strategy from Mickey's parents' house. The guys used a clever tactic. They led the zombies to one side of the house and let them in, while slipping out the other side. Ben told Annie he'd try it again. If he succeeded, he'd find her and end her misery. Ben turned on Mickey's player and uncovered the car windows to attract the zombies' attention. As they gathered in front of the car, he escaped through the trunk. In the end, we see Ben limping down the road, alone, without supplies or weapons. A hungry horde of zombies trailed close behind. But Ben had a clear purpose now, to avenge his best friend's death. Will Ben avenge his best friend's death? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Flick Spoilers signing off.